Prepare yourself for a talk radio experience like no other.
Strap yourselves in and hold on.
He stands for truth. He stands for justice. He stands for what's right. This is the Alex Jones Show. Call Alex now, toll free, at 877-590-5525. Now live from Austin, Texas, here's Alex Jones.
Your calls and a ton of important news on the economy and the unfolding police state coming up in 30 minutes. Prominent lawyer and former Deputy Attorney General of Pennsylvania, Phil Berg, is our guest for the next 30 minutes. And I wanted to get him on because his website, obamacrimes.com, has received about 25 million visits in the last month or so, gotten international attention. He, of course, has investigated 9/11, been involved in the 9/11 Truth Movement. He's not what you'd call a right-winger who has an axe to grind against Barack Obama. He had the question a few months ago raised to him about Obama not being a full U.S. citizen, the type that could run for president. The fact of where was he really born? Was he born in Kenya? Jerome Corsi tried to go out there last week and was detained for a day trying to investigate that. Barack Obama has been challenged to release his birth certificate and other documents, and as well as passport data that would prove it one way or the other, and hasn't. Now, other presidential candidates in the past have released this type of material, so that's what's so suspicious, and he's got a lawsuit in and a court looking at that right now. And so to break down why this is so serious, we are joined by Phil Berg. Mr. Berg, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Alex. Haven't seen you in a while. Good speaking with you.
Good to have you. Last time I physically saw you was up in Chicago for a big event we were having up there for 9/11 right. Truth, and the 9/11 victim family member, Mrs. Mariani. Okay, for the audience that isn't aware of this, give them the basic facts we know, and then the big issue that Obama will not disprove this. He just and that's why something really is rotten in the state of Denmark. We know he went to foreign schools. We know he went to Muslim schools. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The point is he's lied about it. We know his dad was basically a Muslim. We know he was raised in other parts of the world. His mother was a Marxist-Leninist. He's connected to all these terrorist groups. There's no doubting it. He's been caught lying about that. And then there's a question of him even being a citizen. And why that's important for me is that he's totally compromised then. Different groups and elements can use that to influence the president. And it looks like right now with him in about 9-10 points ahead, 7 to 10 points depending on the poll ahead. He's a little bit less ahead in the Electoral College, but still ahead there as well. And that lead widening. This is more important than ever with the election 25 days away.
Absolutely, and it's a total disgrace that the national media continues to protect Obama, not vet him. Now for 20 months, no questions are raised of him. And I'm doing this because the most important document in our country is the U.S. Constitution. I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I'm pursuing this for the U.S. Constitution. And just as a side note, look what they're doing to Governor Pound, which I could care less, but look what they're doing to her. They're ripping her apart. They're going in her closet, under her bed, asking all kinds of questions. And if they want to do that, why haven't they done it to Obama? I mean, I don't get this special mystique around him that they're not doing anything about it, and I think it's a total disgrace. But what's important here, not only my lawsuit, he has refused to release anything. He's refused to release his medical records. He's refused to release his records from Occidental College, from Columbia University, and from Harvard. So he's hiding something probably on those applications that might say where he's really a citizen from. But my case is that under the U.S. Constitution, there's three qualifications. Number one, 35 years of age. Obama is. Number two, you live in the United States for 14 continuous years. Yes, Obama has. Number three, you be a natural-born citizen. We do not believe, well, I don't think he is at all. I'm 99.99% sure that he's not. Now, first off, many of your listeners go to vacation, say, in Jamaica or Mexico or Canada or even to Kenya. If the mother and father of the child are both citizens of the United States and the child is born out of the country, the child is considered natural born when the child comes back via a United States passport, which they secure at the embassy wherever they are. However, in this case, we know that his mother is from Kansas, but his father is from Kenya. So when only one parent is a United States citizen, you look at the law in effect at that time. the law in effect at that time states that the mother, or, well, not the mother, whoever is a United States citizen must be have lived continuously in the United States for 10 years. His mother did, but 5 of those years had to be after the age of 14. 14 and 5 is 19. She was 18 years of age when she delivered Obama. So if she delivered Obama where we think in Kenya, the ball game's over. You know, he's not a natural-born citizen. Now, some of your listeners might say, oh, that's a little technicality, 18 years, 19 years. I didn't create the law. Alex Jones, you didn't create the law. The law is on the books then. There's laws on the books now. You have to look at the book, look at the laws, and apply them. And what's a disgrace here is, like, for instance, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger from California, people talk to him about running for president, and he says, fine, go amend the Constitution. What happens to Obama? He says, I don't care about the Constitution, apparently, and yet he taught constitutional law. It just doesn't make sense. Now,
well, what about the constitutional crisis if he does get in? This is bound to come out later.
Oh, absolutely. If he ends up getting elected, and this isn't resolved till later, we're going to have a constitutional crisis for this reason. He'll be sitting in the office of president, not being qualified, and world leaders at this point, because I've talked to people over in England, over in Europe, they're aware of the situation. They say 100% he was born in Kenya. Therefore, they're not going to want to deal with him as president. The only way to get him out of office at that time, you could keep suing him, but we know that it's very difficult to sue an incumbent president, so the situation would be impeachment. Well, impeachment is very, very difficult, and especially at that point they'd have a Democratic Congress, so there wouldn't be impeachment. People wouldn't want to deal with him. Any law, actually, that he signed into effect would really be illegal. We'd have a real mess on our hands. And Obama owes an obligation to all the citizens in this country to come clean. You are or you're not.
And that's the big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this has become a huge issue the last few months, thanks to you and others, and they are stonewalling.
Here's the thing. I've been saying it on the radio, on show after show, and I'll say it again here. I challenge to Obama, okay? If I am wrong, prove certified copies of the following documents to the court, not to me, because I'll explain on his website. Send us your certified copies of your birth certificate, of any changed birth certificates thereafter from adoption, an oath of allegiance which you might have taken, or certificate of citizenship, and I'll explain that in a minute. If you show those documents and it proves you're natural born, I'll close down the case, I'll walk away. But he hasn't done it, and I heard you mention our website. It's ObamaCrimes.com, ObamaCrimes.com. We opened it up 5 weeks ago. As of this morning, we're over 30 million hits. This is such a hot topic, and I just sent you over a video they did the other day, and it's on our website at Independence Hall the other day, and already it's up near 150,000 views on it since yesterday. This is just... Obama is putting us into a constitutional crisis. Now, if you are, show it to us. If not, what are you hiding? Now, the thing is, the reason I said the certificate of citizenship, assume for a minute he was born in Hawaii, which I really doubt. If he was born in Hawaii, he would have lost his citizenship when he went to Indonesia. People say, how could that happen? In his book, he states, my stepfather, after his parents divorced, his mother remarried, and she married a Lolo Soturo from Indonesia. In his book, he says, my stepfather returned to Indonesia before my mother and I did. When we returned, I immediately went to school. Well, in the 1960s, Indonesia was at war, and the only people allowed in school there were citizens of Indonesia. So one of two things happened. Either his stepfather, Lolo Soturo, adopted him or acknowledged him. There's two provisions in the law.
And by the way, it was basically a Muslim dictatorship then, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I mean, we got a guy going to a Muslim dictatorship, going to a Muslim school, and you know, Obama will jump over anything that isn't right, but he will not respond to this. And I'm not saying if he's a Muslim that's an evil thing. The point is, they act like you're a five-headed kook, you know, from Planet 12. If you mention this, this guy, it's just there's evidence all over the place.
Whatever you say to him, he just says, oh, it's like no big deal. Like heirs is no big deal, Reverend Wright's no big deal. Nothing's a big deal.
Now the PLO's no big deal.
But, you know, interesting, let's think back a few years, and I'm sure some of your listeners, when McGovern was running for president. Are we taking a break? Let's take a break.
Yeah, we're going to take a break.
Okay, I'll be with you. I'll stay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Phil Berg, we appreciate you. ObamaCrimes.com. Links up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com about this. Look, he could easily put all this to bed by releasing the real birth certificate, but he won't do it. We'll be right back.